Riccarton, Wigram. Hi, welcome.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Kia ora.
Morena.
It gives us great pleasure from Riccarton Wigram to present the council with this submission on the annual plan. I won't read it out verbatim. I'll just touch on a few points. Pre-earthquake, of course, the southwest area plan identified the southwest, or this area of Christchurch, to be a major growth area in the next 20 years. But that's been really compacted now, post-earthquake. And not only have we got huge growth in our area, but we do also have the annual influx in the Riccarton Island area of Christchurch with of university students, which is very, very welcoming, but does put a lot of pressure on accommodation and the and services in the Riccarton Island area of Christchurch. We have 5 key issues in Riccarton Wigram. 3 of those issues we've been addressing proactively through the district plan review, and with some moderate success. The first one being the pressure arising from the intensification and the management of effects. The second one that we submitted through the district plan review was land drainage and flood mitigation, climate change, sea level rise, and the impacts on the headwaters and catchments of our major waterways, i.e. the Heathcote and the Avon rivers. The other issue that we've been very proactive with is submitting on the quarrying and the proximity of quarrying activities to residential areas. And in High or Gilberthorpe School, we've got a proposed quarry that's going to be within 60 metres of the school, which seems absolutely bizarre. And I can't leave this without mentioning the O word, Owaka Holdings Limited, which is a bit of a thorn in the side, but anyway, we'll get on to that a bit later. So we have been and it's taken up quite a lot of our board and staff time as well with our submission through the district plan review, but we've got no regrets of our efforts that we've been putting into that. On page 2, the third paragraph down, we refer to development contributions, and over the years we've seen development taking place in low-lying sort of damp, wet areas, and the city, the ratepayer of Christchurch, is going out and buying additional land to actually provide for stormwater retention and detention systems. And we believe that it shouldn't be really the ratepayer of Aranui or High that's paying for for paying to buy additional land for stormwater retention and detention. The burden should be on the developer. If the developer chooses to develop in wet areas, the developer then should provide the stormwater retention and detention systems as part of their development. It shouldn't be an extra burden on the ratepayer of Christchurch, or on this city council, I mean. So there's 2 areas of land that are being purchased now over in the Hallsville area, quite significant areas of land, to compensate for the land that's being lost with the development that's going on in Henderson's Basin. So it's, it is a fundamental issue that I believe that needs to be looked at. The other issue that I really want to reinforce is, and that's the 5th paragraph down, that the board restates in their submission to the LTP last year the importance of ensuring that the council has, through this plan, the capacity and resources allocated, that high standards of monitoring and compliance of associated conditions are in place and are capable of being maintained. And this point was raised also by people when we had the public meeting on the draft annual plan. So the activities of some of the commercial operators in this ward continue to raise issues for local residents and communities. The board's role to advocate and represent these concerns to the council and other agencies is ongoing and repetitive. It is in this context that the board continues to place heavy reliance on the expectation of the council having the necessary resources for timely compliance and enforcement on monitoring mechanisms. And our submission then goes on to reinforce our support for the budgets in place for Community Facility Southwest Centre, Hornby Community Library and Service Centre, the Riccarton Community Centre, and the relocation of the go-kart from Cars Reserve. If we go to page 4 and the bullet points there, there's the two there that I've mentioned before. There's the Southwest SMP Waterways Detention Treatment Facilities in Quaifs Road, Murphy's Basin Wetland. There were two instances of where the council are going out to buy land for stormwater retention and detention. We have concerns too about the monitoring of closed landfills, and there's a number of them, a lot of them around our ward, and we're just concerned about the risks involved in the aftercare of landfills. The issues that have been in the news recently about behaviour in the Riccarton commercial hub area is something that we would like to see some crime cameras in that location as being proactive and trying to reduce those incidents of behaviour. And we got three parks in Riccarton that all blend into each other, and it's a very, very nice area, from Shands Crescent through to Harrington Park. Those three parks actually flow through with each other, but the community have identified that there is a need for toilets in that area, so we're just reinforcing that. There's some figures there, and it's already been mentioned by other board submissions about the impact of rates and the increases. So those figures are there. I don't think I need to dwell too much on that, but just reinforcing that it is an issue. And if we go to 2.2.2 capital release, we don't want generally we don't want sales to the running of the city. And finally, on page 5, fees and charges, and just really appreciate the fact that other community boards through their submissions, and there's probably more to come, that we are really concerned. And it's sort of the impact was when we had a look at the rate at the pool increases for the Templeton pool, for example, a 75% increase, and without going, because it's already been said this morning, and our board totally agree that we do need to have swimming pools affordable for the well-being and the health of our community. So we're asking to look at, and it was mentioned, community service cards. The other thing too is the ability to buy a concession card that's affordable. This matter was raised by our community board in the past, and the council then decided that they would have 3-month concessions instead of having to pay for a 6-month minimum concession card. And we're just saying that we want more flexibility with that, so that if people do want to buy a concession card to keep their costs down, they shouldn't have to buy 6 months worth of it. It should be, because that's quite unaffordable for people as well. So I'm very, very happy to answer any questions, Madam Mayor and councillors.
Thank you. Yanni, Jimmy,
I've already had a go. Someone else
Jimmy.
can have a go.
Yep, thanks.
all right.
Just quickly,
Andrew.
I was just
Phil.
trying to understand what's happening with the kart club relocation. My understanding was that they had to have some certainty by February 2016. Otherwise, the option lapsed. Well, the staff, and I don't know if you've seen the staff response. They say no response required.
No, I haven't seen that response.
Right. Okay. So, do you have any sense of where things are at with the kart club in terms of the agreements are now, I guess, have the timeline for getting consent has passed, and there's funding on budget which possibly lapses.
The
but-
chief executive can help with that
Yeah.
later on,
Yes,
but
yes. I'm not really in a
yeah,
position, sorry,
if
Yanni,
you can't
to
answer the
that
question,
because
the
it's
questions are for the,
being
yeah,
negotiated.
but I don't want to take up Mike's time by having,
Well, I was just wondering why
we-
that's.
we will
it
answer
has
the
pro-
question.
It has progressed, but I can send you the
Yeah.
email that we sent out to the Aotea Residents Association yesterday.
Okay, so I was just trying to understand from the board's point of view, their submission is keep the money on budget, put the money in a different financial year.
Yes.
Do a different deal. What is it that they're
So-
actually
Yeah, but
They've
we
reached
will make a
agreement.
decision on that.
Yeah,
We've-
they've
we've
reached
got-
agreement and it will
Sorry,
progress.
so the board's aware of what's going on and is in agreement.
No,
We're not really up to
Yanni,
speed. We're
Yanni,
going to have a
the
briefing
email
on it.
went out yesterday as a result of the Aotea Residents Association submission. So
I've just
we-
sent it to you, Yanni.
Yeah,
I've sent it to
great.
Mike as well.
Okay, thank
Good.
you.
Brilliant. Jimmy,
Okay, one question regarding to the Tula Facility.
Yes,
You particular one is Southwest Leisure Center, the other one is the New Hornby Library Service Center. In here, your submission may be mentioned ideally in advance of revised date, set out the draft plan if circumstances allow. I just want to ask, if you read the consultation document on page 24 of council, the annual plan, both facility construction will be started in the second half of 2017, and the whole family is due to open in 2019. But in the annual plan, the document, these two facilities will be open in 2020. So here, you particularly mention ideally in advance is which day? Can you talk to our fellow councillors?
well, what's happened, we appreciate that there was money in there. We are concerned, more than a little really, that time frame's been put out. But we are aware that the actual location of the facility hasn't actually been confirmed or pinpointed yet. But what we're really wanting to happen is that consultation and the identification of a site proceed as fast as possible. So then there's indication from staff and through the plan at this stage that if that identification and consultation work is done sooner rather than later, there is a possibility that funding, that the whole thing can be brought forward, Councillor Chen. So that's really what we're hoping for, is that we can progress this fast enough to actually get those dates brought in closer. But at this stage, through the decisions of the draft annual plan that's gone out, unfortunately that funding was pushed out because it wasn't firm enough to actually commit that funding for a particular year. So that's we've been in between a bit of a rock and a hard place. We can't go out as elected members and consult. In fact, we can't even talk to people who may or may not be affected by this until the consultation with staff has taken place with those affected parties. So, we're just wanting that to happen as soon as possible so that we can actually start really progressing this. But we do appreciate the fact that the money is in the budget, even though it's been pushed out. But it's my understanding that there is a chance to actually pull that back in again.
Andrew.
Thank you. Relating to the part of the submission on the pool fees and charges,
Yes.
where you refer particularly to the pool at Templeton, are you advocating no increase, or is there a level of increase that the board would be comfortable with?
We don't believe there is an increase it's not our wish that be an increase at all, that the pool charges be more affordable, and I think if you read through the text at the back, that's where we're heading to actually make it a lot more affordable. And we quote on the bottom there, it refers to library services and the services that you get from libraries that are virtually free, and should we have the philosophical discussion on whether swimming pools, because of the health and well-being and the social well-being of health and fitness and relaxation and enjoyment, should be more subsidised than it is.
So you're looking for no increase on the pool charges at Templeton, yes. And presumably the second point that you make comparing with libraries is advocating you use that to support the reduction or the keeping the same of the charges at the swimming pools, yes, rather than advocating that we should be charging more for library service.
Well, no, we're not asking for more, yep. Because library services do a really, really great job with the mental health and well-being of our community, but swimming pools and associated gyms are more for the physical and social well-being of our community. So we just need to have a discussion about that, but we certainly don't want to see increases in pool charges.
Phil?
Thanks, Mike. Just on the detention basins and that issue,
yes,
you'll be aware that the detention basin program is part of the land drainage recovery
yes,
recovery work, and that area on the southwest of Sparks Road is for that purpose. So when you're referring to developers meeting the cost, are you really referring to developers where the development is proposed, that in fact that be part of the DCs?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Thanks for clarifying that part. Now the other question I had really is around your on page 3 in relation to the crime prevention cameras. Yep. So that, you'll be aware, Mike, that isn't usually crime prevention in the sense of that that extra surveillance aid isn't usually the role of council. It would normally be the role of the police or maybe the business operators themselves. So are you referring to, say, surveillance cameras around council facilities, for example, the bus lounge?
I talked to council staff about the cameras, and I've just forget the person. It's to do with SIPTED, that sort of thing. I've also talked to the police about it. The police said, well, we need to work with the council on this. So it's following those two discussions that we've got it to into our submission on the annual plan, to identify that there may be some cost involved in installing cameras in the general area of the commercial part of Riccarton, and
so Mike, since that's a new kind of area of
yes,
work, would there be potential, do you think, from the local business association to also be involved in contributing to that crime prevention?
I would like to think that it could well be. But I am aware that there was cameras around. There was quite a lot of cameras around the CBD pre-earthquake, and they are no longer there because there's not that level of activity in the CBD area. So I believe that there is cameras around that could be relocated to Riccarton.
Yeah, I think the police have been requested to address this. So
yes,
okay.
It is a police responsibility to put the cameras on.
Yeah, as well. Okay.
Yeah. But the police can't do it on their own, Madam Mayor.
No. We have raised it with them.
Thanks, Mike.
Paul.
I'd just like to add to that around the security. You're right. There is a company that is working quite close with the police and the businesses and the property owners through the rebuild.
Yes.
Because obviously with all the new walkways cutting through blocks, there's going to be lots of places where activities could happen. And they're working with them to actually get the property owners to install cameras that actually link into the police monitoring station. So the same thing could apply to other areas in the city.
Yeah, but the cameras, unfortunately, have been used traditionally
to catch people after the fact. The modern technology that's coming with the smart city approach is being able to assess what's going on in the community. So picking up screaming, picking up, people gathering together. So
All
it's
of
that
that.
sensing technology, which
Yep.
we will have available to us through the Smart City program. That's the sort of approach that I think is going to come. I mean, it doesn't mean cameras aren't part of the picture. They are totally part of the picture, but it's not just trying to capture, images of people after the fact. It's actually also about all of the sensing technologies that go around
Being
it.
proactive rather than reactive,
Yeah.
yes.
Is
I was
it-
just going to say they're using cameras now, so.
Yeah, no, it's both.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
So thank you very much.